FoxyWriter, Brandy Ackerley, and this week I got a cold, so I have surprisingly little to talk about. Oh, I was too sick to do my stream on Saturday, which was depressing though. Fortunately, I started feeling better on Monday, so I'm mostly healthy now. Healthy enough for a video at the very least. I am going to try and stream tonight, and we'll have something new to show off, even if I don't last the whole 4 hours. So, yeah. And I don't foresee any issues with Saturday's stream. I should be 100% by then. Oh, for NaNoWriMo, my update here is that I'm still behind, but I have reached 20k, and even better, I have reached the second of my new chapters to add back in. Hilariously enough, I found that the chapter I'm adding in is actually completely taken from a chapter I originally wrote into this book, years ago, back when I first did the rough draft. And it's so old now, and I just took it out that it actually has all of the character names wrong. So yes, the last time I actually wrote or worked on that particular chapter, aside from deciding, nope, time to cut you out, was literally before I put out the first book. How writing goes, eh? Lastly, although no less importantly, it's come to my attention that Canada's southern neighbors are celebrating Thanksgiving this week. So, to everyone who's celebrating a Turkey Day, and certainly to those who aren't as well, I want to offer my best wishes. A happy family time, and an amazing weekend. Now, in last week's chapter, Kitsune-ken and Richard may not have gotten any closer to finding their treasure, but they certainly had a fun time exploring the area and finding crabs. Richard has suggested that they take the next day to actually hunt the creatures, not only to increase their food stores, but as a delectable trade good, just in case no treasure is found. And now, on with the story. Okay, just let me pull up the book here. Perfect. Isashi looked at the carcass of the cockatrice. The creature had only 2 wounds on its body, which was odd. They were alert creatures that regularly dodged arrows. This one had a gash, nearly healed, near the base of its beak, and the strike that had killed it, a blow with a blade through the side of the creature's head. The first had been done by a regular steel weapon. She could tell that by the way it had healed. Cockatrices were some of the most dangerous ones, because of their immunities. It was why Isashi carried around stone and cold iron-tipped arrows, as well as regular steel. An acidic substance had followed the blade in on the second wound, which was a typical reaction from weapons it was vulnerable to. Cold iron, in this case. Even after the blade had been removed, the damage continued, eating away at the creature's brain and head. She waved away the flies and turned from the body to the destroyed cairn she found the creature under. Smaller pebbles filled in the bigger holes left by fist-sized rocks that had comprised most of the cairn. But soon after burial, something big had been drawn to the smell and unearthed the kill, feeding upon it. The confusing thing was that there were no tracks. She couldn't tell if it had been done by one creature or many. She didn't understand why anyone would have cared to the bird in the first place, either. The ground was wet enough here that whoever had killed it should have been able to bury it, though burning would have been even better. The stench of death wouldn't have hung around the area. A pall for the mood instead of the eyes. Why wouldn't they have just burned or buried the thing instead of just piling rocks on it? Townships didn't pay individually for creatures' deaths. Some monsters had useful parts, though the birds weren't one of them. Something to mislead Kitsune-ken? He hasn't been proven guilty yet, girl, Isashi reminded herself. Somehow, even after saying it, she didn't know if she believed it. Hana's voice broke the silence. Isashi, I found blood, quite a bit of it. 2 areas, here and here, both mixed with the dirt until it was nearly dry. Isashi walked over to where Hana was pointing, trying to puzzle out what the marks in the ground meant. One scuffle, a human laying on the ground with something heavy on top of it, weighing it down? Perhaps the cockatrice? If it had been, the beast's claws had dug into the ground, pausing, if the change in weight on its feet was an indication. There were more claw marks, as if the creature had been digging its talons into the ground for purchase, too. Perhaps it had been hiding from a larger enemy? She'd never seen such odd behavior from a cockatrice before. Usually they charged head first, killing with claws until there were no more enemies, or they fell from their wounds. Have you tested either of them? From what I can tell, this is mostly human, and this, she pointed to a nearby mound of dirt, is only cockatrice blood. Isashi crouched on the balls of her feet. The bugs? It was the most unscientific way of telling, but if you had nothing else, it worked. Hana nodded. There are regular flies and their maggots spawn on this one, with 1 or 2 death flies. That one, she gestured to the pile Isashi was standing over, only has death flies. Isashi batted away the flies and pulled up a clod of dirt. The flies buzzed around her angrily, but she ignored them. Death flies preferred monster blood to human, and were double the size, but they weren't dangerous. She never found out which her own blood would be preferred by. She hoped she'd never have to. No death maggots, Isashi said. The regular flies had been breeding for a day or so already, by the looks of it. Regular maggots were teeming in the dirt. Her eye caught on a soft-looking pebble. She picked it up and saw another a little further away. No, but there are eggs, Hana said as one of the pebbles wiggled. Isashi grimaced and squished it. Bug eggs. 2.5 days? Maybe 3? Isashi stood and walked away from the abandoned campsite. So? Hana asked, following her out. Isashi ignored the question, needing to be clean first. She drenched her towel with wood alcohol and breathed in until the stink chased away the scent of death. Then she cleaned her hands and all exposed skin with the cloth. The second time in less than a week. She would usually go months without finding dead bodies. Hana cleaned herself as well. You can't avoid the question forever. Do you think it was them? Isashi clenched her fist. I don't think it could have been anyone but them. How bad do you think the attack was? Hana asked. One of them was injured, but there were death flies on both piles. It suggests that one got sliced by a wing or talon and bled before he could get it off her. He got it off her? Hana repeated. Isashi looked into the clear sky. The stranger took out 3 guys wielding swords, Hana. Who do you think is the most likely one that got injured? Himiko's gonna be pissed, Hana said. Hey, no one's died yet, and if we're right about that sandy alcove being used for cleaning, then they've less chance of getting sick. Slim hopes, but they were all Hana had to offer. Do you think they were planning on coming back for it? The sun was a few finger lengths down from where it had been before. She and Hana had been here almost an hour. They had maybe another 3 before darkness fell. How far could she and Hana travel in that time? Where was the next good campsite? It was bad practice to sleep in a place that already had the pall of death. I don't see any reason they would care in it when they could have buried it or burned it. I'm pretty sure they would have had shovels with them. That would have kept the flies and maggots from getting at it a few days longer. Do you know if this guy she's with has had hunter training? Isashi frowned. Rumor says he does, but I don't know for sure. It was confusing behavior if Richard did. There was no reason to leave it to the elements. She supposed that if he wasn't, he could be one of those who believed that monster parts could be harvested for money. In reality, there was little further from the truth. You had a better chance of becoming rich if you signed on with a merchant wagon, or a traveling caravan than turning in a bounty from a kill like this. Isashi had no desire to leave Hidan, but she might just suggest those options to this Richard fellow when she found him. Himiko seemed to be right about him being a bad influence on Kitsune-ken, if nothing else. You think we're catching up? Isashi asked, settling her pack on her back again. Himiko would want to know that her sister had been hurt. There was no way that Asashi was going to be able to tell her that without better news to soften the blow, or without having Kizuna there to take the blame. It took us a day and a half to get out here. They had a 2 full days head start. Hana did some math in her head. We're catching up, but they still have a decent lead on us. Asashi clenched her fist again. She'd hoped they would have made more time already. Damn it, she didn't like her townsfolk getting hurt. She'd failed Himiko's family by letting her father die already. She'd only been a block or so away when he died during the attack 2 years ago. If she'd just been faster, she could have saved him. She wouldn't lose Kizuna, too. At least we know they're still alive, Hana said. And we haven't found any tracks. What worries me is that there aren't any footprints near that cairn at all. I'm worried that the creature out here may be intelligent enough to hide its tracks. Isashi fixed her bag more comfortably on her shoulders. Well, let's do what we can to shorten that lead, then. Oh, and that's it. Oh, okay, let me just put the book down. Oh, another nice short chapter this week. What I like most about this chapter is just how CSI Isashi is here. As part of the hunter training, she was clearly taught about this stuff, so it's really interesting to see just how a hunter does their work. I also find it exceptionally interesting that she doesn't like the death, while her partner Hana certainly doesn't mind. It isn't that one is better than the other. It's clear that they both know what they're doing and that they just have different ways of treating their work. Finally, I just got some news from one of my beta readers. They aren't done with the read-through yet, but they were saying that this is shaping up to be my best book ever in their opinion, and they sort of went insane over the potential chance to read one of the chapters I'd ended up rewriting from her favorite character's perspective. I sent it to her, but she hasn't gotten back to me yet. Oh, but I can't wait to get her input on it. Oh, I'm sorry. I must not be over my cold yet. Well, I'll just say this week, I am so thankful for all of my viewers who come here to check out my novel each week. Oh, you guys are amazing. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what... Wait, what happened? Where did I go? How did I disappear? Well, I will stop here then. Hopefully, I'll have figured out how to reappear by next Wednesday. All right? As always, if you like what I'm doing here, then please hit the like or subscribe button. And if you want to make me super thankful, please consider sharing the video or any part of the series.